For about, I don't know, 10 or 15 years now, actually closer to 15, one of my favorite fields of study has been apologetics. Um, all of the greats, I've read pretty much most of them. I have spent a lot of time over the years delving into the philosophical, the scientific explanations for the Christian faith, and I love it. Um, I love diving into each and every one of those topics, whether it's scientific, whether it's philosophical, theological, archaeological. Um, Apologetics has been a big part of my life and a big boost to my faith over the last 10, 15 years. And um, I've gotten to this place, though, in my life and in my, I guess, my ministry where I understand the importance of apologetics, of being able to uh, accurately and logically defend your faith against attacks of science or philosophy or anything that would come against your belief system, having a way to shore up what you believe. But as I'm aging, I am starting to realize that even apologetics has a limitation, and sometimes people just want to know your story, your explanation of your faith, of your journey to Jesus, so to speak. And there's actual biblical precedence for this. I was reading through 1 Corinthians 15 today, and in chapter 2, Paul said that the natural person does not accept the things of the Spirit of God, for they are folly to him, and he is not able to understand them because they are spiritually discerned. When it comes to apologetics and defending the Christian faith against attacks of atheism and agnosticism, um, you can have every theological, philosophical, or scientific explanation in the book. And man, there are some really good ones, whether it's William Lane Craig or Stephen Meyer or um, there's so many of them now. You can have every example, every argument solidified, but one thing you can't defeat is the human spirit. And that is something that I feel like only comes with prayer and with seeking the will of God for a person or a group of people that you're trying to win in your defense of the faith, in your evangelism towards them. We have to recognize, as Paul said, that we don't fight against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and rulers of dark places and things of that nature. What we are up against as Christians is not so much a philosophical battle as much as it's a spiritual battle. There was a philosopher, a Christian philosopher, I cannot remember who it was, that said, man, who was that? He basically said that atheists might have a mental deficiency and they struggle with their belief of God because there's a part of their brain that might be struggling. And I can't remember exactly who that was. If you know, leave it down in the comments. It was a really interesting argument. It might have been Alvin Plantinga. That might be who it was. But it's not so much even a mental thing as much as it's a spiritual thing. Atheism, even other world religions that Christians fight up against, even other political factions that Christians are up against, is a spiritual problem. And it is not so much a logical problem. And we see that play out constantly. I watch a lot of videos. There's a group out there called Abolitionist Rising. If you haven't watched them, I highly recommend it. But the guy that kind of leads it up, Russell, will go and have kosher, logical reasoning for his stance on abolishing abortion. But what he's met with time and again is never rationalized thought, but it's vitriolic, emotionalized ramblings, to be honest with you. And I'm not being exaggerative. That's actually the case. It's all from emotional arguments, not from logical arguments. And this has got me thinking over the last couple of months, and even in people that I'm witnessing to and trying to talk with, they don't care about your explanation of why anything exists versus why nothing exists. They don't care about your philosophical argumentation for the reality of reality or anything like that. What they want to know is hey, you were going through a hard time. How did Jesus help you? And when I look in the Bible, that's what I see a lot is sharing the testimony. I think in Book of Revelation, chapter 12, John the Revelator was writing, and I think what he recorded was they were overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony, not the word of their logical theorizing or their philosophizing, but it was their testimony that overcame the blinders put on by the enemies of our soul. So in your attempt to propagate the gospel, recognize it's not always a logical problem, but it's also very much so, if not foundationally so, a spiritual battle that you're up against. And if it's a spiritual battle, well, the tools of a spiritual battle change from the tools of a physical battle or an intellectual battle. The tools of a physical battle are prayer, or supplication, or intercession, allowing the gifts of the Spirit to be evident in your ministry to that person or that group of people that you are witnessing to. So if you are feeling overwhelmed or burdened because who you are witnessing to or what you are witnessing you're not seeing the result that you desire, recognize it might be a spiritual problem more than a logical problem. Begin to intercede, begin to talk to the Lord, kind of like Abraham did with Lot. If there's 10 righteous people, he worked his way down till finally, if there's 8 righteous people, I think it was 8, will you spare them? And God did. So in your evangelization of the world, in your obedience to the Great Commission, go and be a light. Go and share your testimony, because your testimony might be that one thing that knocks down the walls of the unbeliever's fortress and allows them to truly open up to God, allows them to get those walls broken down so that they can then see the light of the gospel. So until next time, God bless. Go ye therefore into all the world and create disciples, teaching them according to what Jesus taught.